Here we have $15,000 invested in a low-risk account that you expect to pay 2% annual interest, and a high-risk account that you expect to pay 8% annual interest. If you want the total interest earned to be $720, how much should be invested in each account? So we have low risk and high risk. I say that we expect them to pay a certain amount because, it's not really guaranteed. But maybe based on past behavior, this is what they've been paying out. But the high-risk account has a much higher chance of maybe losing money or something like that. So in any case, to approach this problem, we need to figure out some sort of equation that relates the various numbers here. And the equation that I'm going to use on this one is an actual interest formula. This is the amount of interest earned is equal to PRT. So I is the amount of interest you earn. P is what we call the principal. R is the interest rate. In general, we use R to talk about a rate. A rate. In this instance, we have the interest rate. And T is time. Now, usually when we're talking about this sort of formula, interest rate is a percent per annum is sometimes how it's called, or the amount that's compounded each year. And so time needs to be a number of years. In this instance, we're saying, I guess it doesn't actually say it, but if you want the total amount of interest earned to be $720, I'm going to go ahead and take this to be $720 per year, so that this number just becomes 1. So the formula we end up here with is I equals P times R. And we can fill in our chart based on this formula. We have two different accounts. We have the low risk account. We have the high risk. And we have the total. Since we're dealing with, whenever we're dealing with these mixture problems, you can see we just about always have this third row here for a total. All right. Filling in some numbers. We have $15,000 to invest between the two of these. This is the total amount of money that we're investing. I guess I didn't clarify here. When I say principal, this is the amount of money in the account. So that's this is a dollar value here. I guess the amount of interest earned is also dollar value. But this $15,000 invested, this is telling us the total amount of principal. And it's not in either account, it is a total, so it goes down here in this third column. We're going to take the low interest to pay, we're going to assume it pays 2% interest rate. And it's important whenever we see a percent in a problem, you always convert it to a decimal before you deal with it. Because obviously we're not going to take the dollar amount times 2 that we're earning each year. Earning 2% means 2 divided by 100, or 0.02. Similarly, the amount of interest we expect to earn from the high risk account is 8% interest, so I'll put 0.08 in there. And let's see, it looks like those are all the numbers I can... Oh, we know we want to get a total amount of interest earned here of $720, so I'll put that one in there as well. Okay, so those are all the values that I can put in here. Now I need to figure out some way, some variables. And I can choose to put in the amount of interest earned from each of these, or the amount of money invested in each of these accounts. And I'd say it makes more sense to put in X and Y to represent the amount of money invested in the low-risk account and the amount of money invested in the high-risk account. Because then we can find the amount of interest earned by using multiplication. If we'd done it doing X here, we'd have to use division to find that one, and that means fractions. And, well, I'd like to avoid that if possible. So you can see I filled in the rest of the chart. Again, this value down here doesn't really make sense. This is kind of your average interest rate, so I'm going to leave that one blank. But I have two equations that need to be true here. The amount of principal needs to sum up, or the amount of money in the two accounts needs to be $15,000 total, and the amount of interest earned, 0.08y, needs to be $720. So we have our two equations here, and we can solve this system of equations to find out the two values. On this one, they're both in standard form, so I'm kind of inclined, I feel like I should use the elimination method. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and use the substitution method. I've been using the elimination method a lot lately. The substitution method is also pretty easy here because you can see I have coefficients of 1 for both my x and my y here. So I can solve either of these. So I've solved this first equation for either of those. So I'm going to go ahead and solve the first equation for, let's say, the x. I could do it either way. I'm just choosing to do the x. You could just as easily solve for y. So that first equation, when I solve for x, that means I subtract x from both sides, I end up getting y equals... No, I just said solve for x, not solve for y. I should be subtracting y from both sides. I get x equals 15,000 minus y. Alright, that's pretty straightforward to solve there. But this value is going to take the place of the x in that second equation. So we get 0.02 times 15,000 minus y plus 0.08y equals 720. Okay, to solve this equation, I need to distribute my 0.02 through the parentheses. That means I'm going to take 0.02 times 15,000. 0.02 times 15,000, giving me 300. Also distributing that 0.02 to the y, so I get minus 0.02y. Alright, so it looks like I can combine like terms. These two terms can combine to give me 0.06y. And now I'm trying to solve for this y. I was just simplifying so far. Now solving for the y means subtracting 300 from both sides, giving me 0.06y equals 420, and dividing both sides by 0.06. I get y equals 420 divided by 0.06 gives me 7,000. Alright, y is the amount of money invested in the high risk account. So let's find x. I'm going to use the first equation because x plus y equals 15,000 is a much easier equation to deal with than 0.02x plus 0.08y equals 720. So I get, let's see, x plus 7,000 equals 15,000 plus x equals 8,000. So I want $8,000 in low risk and $7,000 in high risk. Before I give my final answer, I'm going to verify that everything works out here. Let's see, this should be 8,000 plus. This should be $15,000 total, and it is. I should be getting $720 worth of interest. So let's see, the first account, 8,000 times 0.02. The second account has $7,000, and we're earning an 8% interest rate, so I get 7,000 times 0.08. And this gives me a total amount of interest earned of $720. So this would be my final answer here.